Marta's digital alarm clock buzzed persistently, pulling her out of the comfort of light sleep. She reached out and turned it off, but remained in bed for a few more minutes, savoring the morning silence before the daily routine began. The room was still dark, the heavy curtains blocking out the golden light of dawn, creating a temporary sanctuary from the reality of the day ahead. Clara, her daughter, was already in the kitchen when Marta finally left the bedroom. Despite being in her final year of business school, Clara worked hard to contribute to the household expenses. She sold homemade chocolates on campus, a small venture that helped ease the financial strain that had worsened with ongoing difficulties. "Good morning, Mom," Clara greeted with a smile, handing a steaming mug of coffee to Marta, who nodded in gratitude. "Good morning, sweetheart. How are things shaping up for today?" Marta asked, referring to the chocolate sales Clara had planned for the day. "They're coming along. I made some new fillings last night. I hope people like them," Clara replied, trying to keep her tone optimistic, though the uncertainty was evident in her voice. "They'll love them, I'm sure. Your chocolates are delicious," Marta reassured her, trying to instill some confidence in her daughter, who only nodded, distracted by the breakfast preparations. A moment of silence settled between them, each lost in her thoughts. Marta was thinking about the bills piling up and the mortgage that needed renegotiation. Clara, on the other hand, dreamed of the day when she could open her own business, a bakery that would bring not just financial stability, but also a bit of joy into people's lives. "Mom, do you think I can do it? I mean, open my own business?" Clara suddenly asked, breaking the silence. "Of course you can, my love. You're smart and hardworking, and I'll always be here to support you," Marta replied, her voice filled with unwavering faith in her daughter's abilities. "Thank you, Mom. It's just, I worry sometimes. You know, some students at college. Clara hesitated, struggling to get the words out. "What do they do, Clara?" Marta's concern was palpable. "Oh, some of them make fun of me for selling chocolates. They don't need to work, so they don't understand." Clara averted her gaze, the pain evident in her expression. "Oh, sweetie, don't let them get to you. You're doing what you need to do, and there's honor in that. You're building your future," Marta said, getting up to hug Clara, offering the comfort only a mother's embrace could provide. "I know, Mom. It's just, sometimes it's hard," Clara admitted, allowing herself to be vulnerable for a moment before pulling herself together. "But I won't give up. I promise." Clara spent the morning in the kitchen, preparing a new batch of chocolates to sell at the university. As she melted chocolate and mixed fillings, she tried not to think about the hurtful comments from some of her classmates. She knew that among the elite students, her small business was seen by some as a desperate act, not the entrepreneurial venture she believed it to be. As she arranged the chocolates in decorated boxes, her mind wandered to the future, imagining a charming bakery with display cases full of sweets and a cozy cafe where people could gather to enjoy her creations. "One day," she whispered to herself, "one day this will be real." When she arrived at the university, Clara set up her small makeshift stand in a corner of the main courtyard. The first customers were always the most encouraging, usually friends or acquaintances who admired her dedication. However, as the courtyard filled up, the stares and whispers began. "Hey, look, it's the chocolate seller," she heard a mocking voice from a group of well-dressed students. Clara recognized one of them, Philip, known for his wealth and arrogance. "Maybe she should try selling some books too, to learn something while she's here," another added, prompting laughter from the group. Clara felt her face flush, but she focused on helping a customer who seemed genuinely interested in her products. "Don't let them get to you," she repeated to herself, recalling her mother's words. When the group approached, pretending to be interested in the chocolates, Clara braced herself with patience. "How much for one?" Philip asked, picking up a chocolate and examining it as if it were something curious and inferior. Clara replied firmly with the price, avoiding the young man's disdainful gaze. "Wow, what a steal, huh? Bet this'll pull you out of poverty real quick," Philip laughed, putting the chocolate back in the box without buying it. Clara took a deep breath, fighting back tears of frustration and humiliation. However, before she could respond, a gentle voice intervened. "I'll take a box, please. The last time I bought some, everyone at home loved them. They're not too sweet, so they don't get overwhelming," said a young woman, whom Clara recognized as one of the assistant professors in the business program. She smiled kindly at Clara, ignoring the group of mockers. "Of course, thank you so much," Clara said, relieved and grateful for the intervention. As she packed the chocolates for the professor, she felt a small thread of hope. Not every day was easy, but moments like this reinforced her determination to keep going despite the obstacles. "Don't listen to those fools," the professor said, paying for the chocolates. "You're doing more than most here. You're building something. Stay strong." The rest of the day at the university dragged on for Clara, marked by more cold stares and whispered comments that she did her best to ignore. Despite the difficulties, she managed to sell nearly all of her chocolates, filling her with a small sense of victory as the courtyard emptied and the afternoon gave way to evening. With the money box discreetly hidden in her bag and a small box of leftover chocolates, Clara prepared for the long walk home. The night had fully fallen, and the usually quiet city streets seemed darker and more menacing under the cloak of darkness. Clara quickened her pace, aware of the late hour. The echo of her footsteps mingled with the distant sounds of the city beginning to settle down. A gust of cold wind made her pull her coat tighter, trying to keep warm. She cast nervous glances over her shoulder from time to time, her heart beating a little faster with each shadow that danced at the edge of her vision. As she passed a dimly lit alley, a hooded figure silently emerged from the shadows. Clara stopped abruptly, her heart jumping into her throat. "Hand over everything you've got now." The man's voice was rough and laden with threat, cutting through the night's silence like a knife. Instinctively, Clara clutched her bag to her. "Please don't," she pleaded, her voice trembling with fear. "I really need this money." The man took a step forward, his face obscured by the hood. "Don't make me say it again. The bag. Now." He extended his hand, his fingers curled in a clear demand. Trying to stay calm, Clara offered the bag, but at the last second, panic made her pull back. "Please, this is all I have," she whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. Irritated by her hesitation, the man lunged forward, grabbing the bag with force. Clara tried to resist, but the violent tug knocked her off balance, sending her crashing to the cold, hard ground of the alley. The man yanked the bag from her hands and, in a swift and cruel gesture, also took the box of chocolates that had fallen beside her. "Let this be a lesson not to mess with me," the man said before turning and disappearing into the night, leaving Clara alone and terrified on the ground. Shaking, Clara slowly got up, feeling the weight of shock and defeat. She wiped her tears with the back of her hands and took a deep breath, trying to calm her pounding heart. With unsteady steps, she continued her walk home, each step a reminder of the fear and vulnerability she still felt. When she got home, Marta was in the living room, the soft light of a single lamp illuminating her worried face. Seeing Clara at the door, pale and shaken, she quickly stood up. "Clara, what happened?" Marta asked, alarmed by her daughter's state. Clara couldn't hold back her tears any longer. "Mama, I was robbed. They took everything, all the money I made today," she sobbed, the words barely coming out between sobs. Marta rushed to Clara, hugging her tightly. "Oh, my dear, I'm so sorry," she murmured, holding back her own tears and stroking Clara's hair. "But are you okay? Did he hurt you?" "No, not physically, but..." Clara struggled to find the words. "I feel so lost, Mom. Everything I work for, it always seems to end in disaster." Marta cupped Clara's face in her hands, looking into her daughter's eyes with a mix of pain and determination. "Listen, this is awful, yes, but it won't make us give up. You're strong, stronger than you think. And I'm here with you. We'll get through this together, no matter what." The two stayed embraced for a long time, the silence of the room broken only by the soft sound of Clara's crying. The safety of home had never felt so comforting, nor so necessary. A few days later, it was late afternoon at the university, and Clara was packing up her modest chocolate stand, preparing to go home after enduring several taunts from her wealthy classmates, especially Philip. While organizing everything, Professor Lydia, who had previously bought a box of chocolates and was charmed by the quality of Clara's treats, approached with a gentle smile and an expression that suggested she had something important to discuss. "Clara, I've been thinking about your chocolates since the last time I bought them," Lydia began, glancing at the few boxes remaining on the stand. "You really have a special gift. Why not bring this to a wider audience?" Clara, a little tired but always attentive, was cleaning the surfaces as she listened. "I'd love to, Professor. But honestly, after being robbed and losing what little I made, it's been hard to think about expanding," she replied, her face somber, reflecting the harsh reality of her words. Lydia nodded, understanding. "I can only imagine how difficult that must be, but there's a contest at the city's Taste Festival next month. It's an excellent platform for amateur and professional bakers, and the entry fee is minimal." Clara looked hesitant, still shaken by the recent events. "The contest sounds amazing, but I'm still trying to recover financially. You see, the university offers a support fund for students who want to participate in events like this. I think you have a great chance, and I'd be more than happy to help you with the application and preparation process," Lydia offered, her tone encouraging. The idea of participating in such a prestigious event brought a sparkle to Clara's eyes that hadn't been seen in a long time. "Do you really think I should try?" "Absolutely," Lydia affirmed with conviction. "You're talented, Clara, and this could be the push you need to start thinking more seriously about turning your passion into a thriving business." Encouraged by the professor's words and the opportunity to perhaps turn her luck around, Clara agreed to think about the proposal and discuss it with her mother, Marta, to make a final decision. Later that evening, in their cozy kitchen, Clara shared the news with Marta while helping to prepare dinner. "Mom, Professor Lydia suggested that I enter a cooking contest. She thinks it could be a good opportunity for me," Clara said, trying to gauge her mother's reaction. Marta, always concerned about her daughter's well-being and future, paused for a moment, setting aside the vegetables she was chopping. "That sounds wonderful, dear. But what about the money for the entry fee? Professor Lydia said the university might help with that. But even so, I'm a bit nervous. After the robbery, it feels like every decision I make is riskier," Clara confessed, mixing a salad with trembling hands. Marta approached and placed a comforting hand on Clara's shoulders, giving her a reassuring squeeze. "Clara, I know it's been tough, but I believe in you. And you should too. Sometimes, to change our luck, we need to be willing to take the first step, even if it feels scary." "Do you really think I should go ahead with this?" Clara asked, seeking the confirmation she needed. "I don't just think. I'll make sure you have the entry fee covered. I'll use the money I saved for this month's electricity bill. We'll take the risk together," Marta declared with a mix of determination and love. Clara hugged her mother, moved and grateful for the unconditional support. "Thank you, Mom. This means so much to me." "Then it's decided," Marta smiled, returning to dinner. "We'll make this competition a new beginning for you. Who knows where it might lead?" With her heart a little lighter, Clara spent the evening researching more about the festival and the cooking contest. She studied the competition requirements, jotted down presentation tips, and planned her recipes. She felt excited, though nervous, about the prospect of competing. In the days that followed, Clara dedicated every free moment to preparing for the contest. She experimented with various flavor combinations, adjusting textures and temperatures, seeking perfection in every batch of chocolate she made. Her kitchen turned into a laboratory of sweetness, with sticky notes and recipes spread across every surface. Marta watched everything with a mix of pride and concern. She knew how much Clara was emotionally invested and wanted to make sure her daughter wasn't too affected by a possible defeat. "Remember, dear, the most important thing is the experience you'll gain," Marta often advised, trying to prepare Clara for any outcome. As the festival approached, the tension increased. Clara decided she would present 3 of her best flavors: a dark chocolate truffle with salted caramel filling, a milk chocolate truffle with lavender and lemon filling, and a white chocolate truffle infused with pink peppercorn and filled with passion fruit. On that sunny morning, just days before the contest, Clara was carrying a tray of her carefully decorated chocolates, planning to give out free samples at the university to promote her participation in the contest. She walked along the sidewalk, deep in thought about the final preparations for the festival. The day seemed promising until a series of abrupt events changed everything. A black car with tinted windows suddenly sped down the same street where Clara was walking. The driver, appearing to lose control, swerved recklessly while trying to avoid another vehicle. Clara, realizing the imminent danger, only had time to turn towards the growing sound of the engine. The car hit her. The sound of shattering glass and Clara's sharp scream cut through the air as bystanders rushed to help. People nearby quickly called for emergency services while a woman tried to comfort Clara, who was confused and in intense pain. The driver of the car, realizing the severity of what he had caused, attempted to flee the scene but was stopped by other pedestrians until the police arrived. Clara awoke in a hospital room, confused and disoriented. The bright overhead light shone intensely, and the beeping of heart monitors filled the space with a constant, methodical sound. She tried to move, but a sharp pain in her left arm stopped her. A nurse, noticing she had woken up, approached with a reassuring smile. "You're in the hospital," the nurse explained gently. "You were hit by a car, but you're safe now. You broke your arm, but fortunately, it's a simple fracture and is already in a cast." Not long after, Marta arrived at the hospital, her face marked by panic and red eyes from worry. Seeing Clara awake, she rushed to the bedside, holding her hand tightly. "Clara, my God, how are you? What happened?" Marta asked, her voice trembling. Clara, fighting against the wave of pain and medication, murmured, "Mom, the car. I couldn't get out of the way in time. And the contest. Forget about the contest now, Clara. The important thing is that you're alive. Let's focus on getting you better," Marta interrupted, her eyes tearing up as she looked at her daughter's state. As Marta comforted Clara, a police officer entered the room to take their statements about the accident. Marta, boiling with rage at the reckless driver, argued with the officer. "I hope that man is held accountable. My daughter could have died because of his carelessness." The officer assured them that the driver was in custody and would face serious legal charges. "But Mom, the contest, I still want to try. It wasn't an open fracture, and they said I don't need surgery," Clara said after the officer left. Marta looked at her daughter, amazed at her determination. "Clara, are you sure? You've had a big scare, and now with your arm like this." "I know, Mom, but I worked so hard for this. I don't want to give up now. I think I can do it, even with just one arm," Clara insisted, the passion in her eyes shining through the fatigue and pain. Marta sighed, knowing deep down that nothing would dissuade her daughter once she set her mind on something. "All right, dear. If this is what you want, I'll support you. We'll find a way to make it work." The rest of the day was spent making plans and adjustments for Clara's participation in the contest. Marta helped organize the ingredients and tools that Clara could use with just one hand. They discussed strategies to simplify the recipes without compromising the quality and taste of the chocolates. Meanwhile, the news of Clara's accident had spread among her classmates and professors at the university. Many sent messages of support, and some even offered help, impressed by her resilience and determination to face the contest despite the accident. The day of the city's Taste Festival had arrived, and the municipal park was transformed. Colorful stalls, flags, and balloons created a festive atmosphere. The aroma of culinary delights filled the air, mingling with the sound of live music and laughter. At the center of the festival, the cooking contest tent was especially busy, with competitors of all ages and specialties setting up their stations. Clara arrived early, assisted by Marta, who carried a box with the last tools and ingredients needed for the presentation. Despite her nervousness, Clara was focused, her left arm in a cast decorated with signatures and messages of support from friends and family. The other stations were already set up, each displaying a variety of elaborate dishes. Clara and Marta set up their station efficiently, adapting everything so that Clara could handle the ingredients and tools with just one hand. "Are you sure you're okay, dear?" Marta asked, arranging the labels that described each chocolate. "Everything will be fine, Mom. I practiced, remember?" Clara replied with a smile, adjusting the sleeve of her apron. "Now I just need to do it like I rehearsed." As the crowd began to gather around the tent, the judges made their first rounds, evaluating the presentation and originality of the dishes before tasting. Clara started preparing her chocolates with meticulous precision, melting chocolate, tempering, and molding each piece with a skill that belied her physical limitation. One of the judges, a locally renowned chef, approached Clara's station, watching her work. "Impressive how you adapt to the circumstances, young lady. What's your inspiration for these flavors?" he asked, curious. Clara, focused on tempering the chocolate, replied without looking up. "Each flavor is a memory, a moment I wanted to capture. Like the lavender and lemon chocolate, it's a reminder of my grandmother's gardens." "Interesting," the judge murmured, jotting something down in his notebook. Around them, visitors began sampling small bites, and the murmurs of approval were music to Clara's ears. As Clara worked, other people in the crowd watched, impressed by her dexterity and creativity, even with only one functional arm. Marta, by her side, offered words of encouragement and occasionally helped reorganize supplies, ensuring everything was within Clara's reach. As the contest progressed, the tension increased, but Clara remained calm, focused on every detail of her chocolates. She finished her presentation with a smile, proud of what she had managed to accomplish under such circumstances. The judges made one last round, tasting and discussing among themselves. Clara and Marta waited anxiously, watching the other competitors receive their feedback. Clara's ability to overcome adversity became a talking point among the spectators, many of whom returned to praise her courage and talent. The festival was filled with laughter, animated conversations, and the sound of live music. Clara, standing next to her mother, held Marta's hand tightly as the judges stepped onto the stage to announce the contest results. The tension was palpable, and Clara felt her heart pounding, the anticipation mixed with a thread of anxiety. The event's host began to speak, his voice rising above the murmur of the crowd. "And now, we've come to the moment everyone's been waiting for. We're going to announce the winners of our cooking contest." Clara squeezed her mother's hand a little tighter. The third place was announced, followed by the second. Clara tried to keep her composure, but hope began to mix with a tinge of disappointment. Then, the host paused dramatically before announcing the first place. "And the first place in the sweets category goes to a competitor who impressed us with her skill, creativity, and the incredible quality of her chocolates, Clara." The crowd erupted in applause, and Clara felt a wave of relief and joy wash over her. Clara, incredulous, allowed herself to be led to the stage by her mother. The walk there felt surreal, each step echoing like a reflection of her dreams coming true. As she accepted the prize, a beautiful trophy and a certificate, Clara looked out at the crowd, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "I'm speechless," she began, her voice trembling with emotion, capturing the audience's silent attention. "This moment means more to me than you can imagine. Every chocolate I made was a piece of my soul, and every challenge I faced was a lesson. I'd like to thank especially my mother, Marta, who is the true hero of this story, always believing in me, even when I doubted myself." Stepping off the stage with the prize in hand, Clara and Marta were met with warm congratulations and hugs from friends and spectators. Among the well-wishers, one face stood out, the face of Chef Andrew, one of the judges and the renowned owner of one of the city's most prestigious bakeries. He approached Clara with a genuine smile. "Clara, may I steal a moment of your time?" he asked as the crowd began to disperse. "Of course, Chef Andrew," Clara replied, intrigued. "First of all, congratulations. Your work today was truly inspiring. Not just the flavors, but the passion you show in your craft is exactly what we're looking for," he began, and Clara felt a new kind of nervousness, this time filled with expectation. "I have a bakery here in the city, as you know, and we're looking to expand our team with talents who not only know how to make sweets, but who can tell stories with them. I'd like to invite you for an interview. I imagine with your talent and ability to overcome adversity, you could bring a lot of creativity to our kitchen," Andrew continued, his eyes shining with an offer that was more than Clara had ever expected to receive. Clara looked at Marta, who smiled, nodding her head. "I'd love to, chef. It would be an honor to learn and grow professionally alongside someone so respected in the industry." "Excellent," the chef replied, handing her a card. "We'll set up a day for you to come to the bakery, see the space, and discuss possibilities. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can bring to our team." As the festival continued around them, Clara and Marta walked back to the car, Clara's heart light with victory and vibrant with the prospect of a promising future in pastry. It wasn't just a personal triumph. It was the beginning of a new chapter in her life, full of exciting possibilities. The day of Clara's interview at Chef Andrew's bakery arrived. She carefully got ready, choosing a new apron that Marta had given her as a gift for winning the contest. With her heart pulsing with anticipation, Clara arrived at the bakery, a charming and well-decorated establishment in the city center. Upon entering, she was greeted by Chef Andrew himself, who led her through the elegant sales area to the spacious kitchen, the heart of the business. "Welcome, Clara. This is our culinary sanctuary," he said with a warm smile. "It's amazing, Chef Andrew. I'm truly honored to be here," Clara replied, taking in the delicious aromas and vibrant atmosphere of the professional kitchen. "Let's start with a small test," announced the chef. "I want to see how you handle something outside your usual repertoire of chocolates. It can be anything you feel represents your skills." Clara thought for a moment and decided to make a flan, a recipe she had perfected over the years and that always impressed at family gatherings. She explained her choice to the chef, who nodded in approval and curiosity. As Clara began to prepare the ingredients, Chef Andrew observed closely, noting her technique and the ease with which she moved around the kitchen, despite her arms still in a cast. Clara mixed, whipped, and cooked with confidence, pouring the mixture smoothly into the mold before placing it in the oven to bake. While the flan baked, Chef Andrew began to talk about his plans for the future of the bakery. "I'm planning a trip to Paris soon," he revealed. "I want to explore new techniques and bring innovative recipes back here. But of course, the bakery needs to keep running in my absence." Clara listened, fascinated, as the chef continued. "That's why I'm looking for someone to take charge of our sweets section. Someone with passion, dedication, and a touch of creativity, qualities you've shown to have." The flan was ready, and Clara took it out of the oven, allowing it to cool before unmolding it and presenting it to the chef. He tasted a spoonful, his serious expression giving way to a satisfied smile. "Delicious," he commented. "Exactly what I expected from you. Clara, I'd like to offer you the position to lead our sweets section while I'm away. Moreover, you'd be working alongside my son, who handles the administrative side. What do you say?" Surprised and emotional, Clara could hardly believe what she was hearing. I'd love to, chef. It would be a dream come true." "Great," said the chef, extending his hand for a formal handshake. "Welcome to the team. Let's make this bakery the best in the city. I just need to step out for a few minutes to grab a small draft of a contract for you to look over, of course, nothing that would interfere with your college studies." Clara waited patiently in the bakery's kitchen, still absorbed in the amazement of having been chosen to lead the sweets section. Chef Andrew had gone to get the employment contract, leaving her alone with her thoughts and plans for the future. As she inspected the space she would soon be in charge of, the door abruptly opened. Clara turned, expecting to see Chef Andrew returning, but to her surprise, it was Philip, a classmate from college. Philip had always treated her with disdain, belittling her efforts to sell chocolates on campus. The shock of seeing him there was palpable. "Clara, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you're cleaning the kitchen now." Philip sneered with a cruel smile. Clara, though stunned, kept her composure. "Actually, Philip, I'm going to manage the sweets section while Chef Andrew is in Paris." Philip laughed, incredulous. "You? Running anything here? That must be a joke. You could barely sell those sad little candies at college." Before Clara could respond, a powerful voice interrupted the tense exchange. It was Chef Andrew, who had returned just in time to hear Philip's last remark. "That's not how we treat people in this bakery, Philip, much less someone who's going to be your boss while I'm away. I was going to let you run the administrative sector, but seeing your attitude, I'll leave that in the hands of our manager, and you'll be Clara's assistant. Whatever she needs, whether it's washing dishes or serving tables, if she asks you to do it, you will." "I can't believe your deplorable behavior." Philip, surprised and visibly shaken at being caught in his cruelty, tried to compose himself. "Dad, I was just—" "No, Philip, there's no excuse for this kind of behavior," Chef Andrew intervened firmly. "Clara is a talented pastry chef who has demonstrated exceptional skill and creativity, something this bakery desperately needs right now. The chef then turned to Clara, apologizing for the scene. With a more serious tone, he shared more about the current situation of the establishment. Clara, I need to be honest with you. Our bakery has been struggling lately. Sales have dropped, and we lack the innovations that could bring us back to our former glory. Your hiring and my trip to Paris are part of a larger plan to revitalize our business. Philip, hearing this, seemed to grasp the gravity of the situation. His face showed a mix of shock and regret. Chef Andrew continued, and Philip, don't forget that while I'm away, you'll be under Clara's orders. I hope you'll learn from her not just about pastry, but also about respect and leadership. Clara watched the lecture, feeling a small sense of satisfaction at turning the tables after all the humiliation Philip had put her through. She was also nervous about the weight of expectations now placed on her shoulders. She addressed Philip with calm firmness. I'm here to help the bakery prosper again, Philip, and I'm going to need the whole team working together, including you. Philip nodded, the previous conflict slowly fading, replaced by a reluctant acceptance of his new reality. He would have to accept that his family's business and his livelihood depended largely on this young woman he had so often humiliated. I'm counting on you, Clara, to help bring new ideas and directions to our pastry creations, Andrew continued, handing her the contract. Clara signed the contract with a new weight of responsibility, aware that the bakery's success now depended partly on her decisions and innovations. She felt ready for the challenge, inspired by the trust Chef Andrew had placed in her. Philip, finally realizing the seriousness of the moment and Clara's value, approached and extended his hand. I'm sorry, Clara. I was wrong. I'm here to learn and help. Clara accepted the gesture, recognizing the opportunity for change and growth not only for the bakery, but also for the relationships within it. She knew the coming months would be crucial, but she was determined to make her mark and help the bakery reach new heights. The future promised challenges, but also the chance for transformation and success. After the meeting with Chef Andrew and Philip, Clara, overflowing with joy and enthusiasm, rushed home to share the news with her mother, Marta. She knew how much her mother had sacrificed to support them, especially after the death of her father, who had left only a modest retirement pension. Upon entering the house, Clara found Marta in the kitchen, preparing dinner. Unable to contain her excitement, she blurted out the news before even sitting down. Mom, you won't believe it. Chef Andrew offered me a job running the sweet section of the bakery while he's in Paris. Marta, initially surprised, dropped the kitchen utensils and hugged her daughter. Oh, my dear, that's wonderful. But what about college? The maternal concern evident in her voice. Clara quickly reassured her mother. I've arranged everything, Mom. I'll keep going to college. The hours at the bakery are flexible, and Chef Andrew understands that I'm still studying. Everything will fit together. Marta sighed, relieved and incredibly proud. I'm so happy for you, Clara. Your father would be proud too. In the days and weeks that followed, Clara threw herself into her new role with renewed vigor. Every day, she tested new recipes, explored innovative flavor combinations, and gradually introduced new items to the bakery's menu. Her commitment and creativity began to attract more customers. People from all over the city came to taste her creations. Philip, initially resistant, began to see Clara in a new light. Working side by side, an unexpected friendship blossomed between them. He was impressed daily by Clara's passion and dedication, and his help became indispensable in the bakery's daily operations. Philip learned and was ashamed of everything he had done to Clara. When Chef Andrew finally returned from Paris, he found a transformed bakery. Revenue had increased significantly thanks to Clara's innovations, and the place was always full of satisfied customers. Impressed with the success achieved in his absence, Andrew decided to save the new recipes he brought from Paris for a future project, allowing Clara to continue experimenting and adapting new ideas to the local palate. With the continued success of the bakery, Clara began to envision an even more ambitious future. In discussions with Chef Andrew, they sketched out plans to open a new branch of the bakery. Clara, using the knowledge she had gained in business school, and Andrew, with his vast culinary experience, foresaw a prosperous partnership. Clara, Your vision and leadership have completely renewed our business, Andrew commented one day as they discussed plans for the new branch. I'm excited to see where this journey will take us. Clara smiled, grateful and excited about the possibilities ahead. I am too, Chef, and thank you for believing in me. As the chapter of her life in